We just got fresh proof that the San Francisco 49ers may have struck absolute gold in one single draft class. Every scouting grade, every practice rep, and every expert reaction is pointing toward the exact same conclusion. This rookie group could completely change how people talk about this front office for years to come. If you're a 49ers fan, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now, because you do not want to miss what's coming next in this story. Let me ask you something before we dive in. How often do you actually get a rookie class where it's not just one guy flashing potential, but 4 or 5 of them all showing signs of being real difference makers before the regular season has even started? That almost never happens. And yet here we are. Let's start with the full picture, because there is a lot to unpack. Sports Illustrated's Justin Mello, who covers the draft for SI full-time, just placed defensive lineman Gracen Halton on a list of the top rookies turning heads at training camp across the entire league. Halton played 30 snaps in the 49ers preseason opener and made the most of every single one. He finished with 4 tackles, 4 stops, and a quarterback pressure, earning an overall grade of 73.6 from Pro Football Focus. This guy is a quick, disruptive interior lineman who plays like a 3 technique, and he showed the exact same explosive first step that made him a problem at Oklahoma. Then there's wide receiver De'Zhaun Stribling, and this is where things get really exciting. Steve Smith Sr., the former NFL receiver and analyst, has been championing this kid for a long time, long before most people were paying attention. Smith praised Stribling's physicality, his willingness to block for his teammates, his strong hands, and his ability to gain yards after the catch. He said this rookie's route running is already ahead of where people expected. Smith went as far as saying Kyle Shanahan may have just found his next great route runner for years to come. He also compared Stribling to what the team hoped Brandon Ayuk could become, but said this rookie brings even more focus and mental sharpness to the role. And here's the best part. Stribling is stepping into an offense loaded with weapons. Mike Evans, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and Deebo Samuel are all going to demand attention from opposing defenses, and if Christian Kirk gets healthy, that's another problem for opposing coordinators. All of that attention on other players means more room for Stribling to work. Now let's talk about running back Kaelon Black. According to NBC Sports Bay Area's Matt Maiocco, Black is expected to be the top running back in uniform for Thursday's preseason game. He just returned to practice after missing 2 weeks with an adductor strain, and he looked completely sharp right away, both as a runner and as a pass catcher out of the backfield. Quarterback Brock Purdy specifically pointed out that there's a different level of intensity every time Black touches the football, and said he can't wait to see what happens when the pads come on for real and Black starts breaking tackles. And finally, defensive lineman Romello Height. Maiocco also singled him out as a guy to watch this week, praising his quickness and ability to get around the edge. During joint practices, Height absolutely beat offensive lineman Enrique Cruz Jr. on a rep that looked completely lopsided. The hope is that Height can eventually pair with Michael Williams to give this defense the kind of speed off the edge it has been missing for years. So that's the full story right there. 4 rookies, 4 glowing reports, and this is only the beginning of training camp. Now here's a question I want you to actually answer in the comments below. Out of all 8 of this year's draft picks, which one do you think ends up being the best player 3 years from now? Don't just say a name, tell us why. This is exactly the kind of debate that gets 49ers fans fired up, so don't hold back. Let's go deeper on each of these guys, because there is so much more context here that makes this story even bigger. Start with Gracen Halton. Being named to a list like Justin Mello's matters, even if some people want to dismiss it because he hasn't played a real NFL snap yet. That criticism is fair on the surface, but it misses the point. Lists like this exist to spark conversation based on what we know right now, not to make permanent declarations. And what we know right now is genuinely impressive. A rookie defensive lineman going out in his very first professional game and playing 30 snaps, while grading out at 73.6 by Pro Football Focus standards, is not something that happens by accident. That kind of workload usually goes to a guy the coaching staff already trusts. Think about how many rookie defensive linemen show up to their first preseason game and look lost, out of position, unsure of their assignments. Halton did the opposite. He looked like he belonged immediately. And remember, this same disruptive quickness is exactly what made him such a problem at Oklahoma. Teams do not always get exactly what they expected from a college player once he reaches the NFL level, but early on, it looks like Halton is translating his game perfectly. Now let's really sit with what Steve Smith Sr. said about Stribling, because this is not just casual praise. Smith is one of the most respected voices in the business when it comes to evaluating receivers, largely because he was one of the most competitive, physical receivers of his own era. When a guy like that starts comparing a rookie's yards after catch ability to some of the better prospects in this year's class, and does it early, before the hype train has even left the station, that means something. Smith didn't just say Stribling is talented. He said the 49ers may have found their best route runner of the Shanahan era. Think about how big of a statement that actually is. This is a franchise that has had elite route runners come through this system before. For an analyst to suggest a rookie could eventually surpass all of them speaks volumes. And the Aiyuk comparison is especially interesting, because that situation was complicated. There was serious talent there, but there were also off-field distractions and public tension that never fully allowed that potential to be realized in San Francisco. Smith seems to be saying Stribling has similar upside but a more stable, more locked-in mentality to actually get there. Combine that with a supporting cast that includes Evans, Kittle, McCaffrey, and Debo, all of whom are going to command extra attention from opposing defenses, and you start to understand why so many people are excited about what Stribling's rookie season could look like. Let's go back to Kaelon Black for a second, because there is real substance behind this hype. This isn't just one analyst throwing out a name. Multiple voices around the team have pointed to the same thing, that there is a noticeable jump in physicality and explosiveness whenever Black gets the ball in his hands. For a rookie running back to come back from a 2-week injury absence and immediately look like the top back in uniform tells you the coaching staff already trusts what they've seen from him. Brock Purdy, who is out there every single day watching these guys up close, specifically called out the different level of intensity Black brings. That's not something a quarterback says about just anybody. Purdy has played with a lot of talented players in this backfield, and for him to highlight a rookie by name means the coaching staff is genuinely excited about what this kid could bring once the games start counting for real. And then there's Romello Height, who might be one of the most important storylines of this entire training camp. Think about how long 49ers fans have been asking the same question. Who is going to line up across from Nick Bosa and actually give this defense a legitimate 1-2 punch off the edge? For years, that question has gone unanswered, and it has quietly hurt this defense in big moments. Now you've got Michael Williams already developing on one side, and here comes Height, showing exactly the kind of speed and bend that this front office has been searching for. That rep against Enrique Cruz Jr. wasn't a fluke either. Height completely turned the corner before Cruz Jr. even had a chance to adjust his hand placement. That's the kind of rep that gets coaches excited, because it shows up on film exactly the way it looked live. Here's where I want you to think bigger picture for a second. If this entire draft class hits, and right now it genuinely looks like it might, this changes everything about how people evaluate this front office going forward. For a long time, the conversation around the 49ers' draft history has been overly simplified. Either people praise every single pick as a home run, or they tear apart every single miss without giving any credit for the hits. The truth is always more complicated than that. Every single team, no matter how good their scouting department is going to have some picks that simply do not work out. Look at what happened with Ricky Pearsall, who stayed incredibly healthy throughout his entire college career, only to deal with injury issues once he reached the NFL. Nobody could have fully predicted that. Or look at Isaac Guerendo, who dealt with durability concerns in college and continued to deal with them at the next level. That risk was visible going in, and it simply didn't pan out the way anyone hoped. Both of these situations deserve honest, nuanced conversation instead of blanket praise or blanket criticism. If this rookie class keeps performing the way it has through camp and preseason, it forces everyone, media and fans alike, to have a smarter, more balanced conversation about how difficult and unpredictable the draft process actually is. It's not about guaranteeing success. It's about making smart bets, developing players the right way, and getting a little bit lucky along the way too. So here's one final question before you go. Out of these rookies, Stribling, Height, Black, Halton, Carver-Willis, Ephesians Prysock, Jaden Duggar, and Enrique Cruz Jr., how many of these 8 do you think end up getting truly meaningful snaps this season? Set your own bar for what meaningful means depending on the position, and drop your prediction in the comments. I want to see exactly who you're betting on and why. This 49ers rookie class has the potential to be one of the most talked about groups in recent franchise history, and we are only just getting started watching it unfold. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single update as these storylines continue to develop throughout the season.